The accelerated pace of digital transformation has changed the business landscape that global enterprises find themselves operating in. Cloud, and multiple clouds to be honest, now form the fulcrum of this paradigm shift, and technologists are seeking newer and compelling ways to manage the growing cloud infrastructure on which, well, nearly everything is hinging on. Cloud being the key lever for organizations to achieve agility, scalability, and pervasive security. Let us learn about the growing importance of cloud managed IT platforms as a category. To share with us how businesses are augmenting and complementing their digital capabilities by leveraging cloud managed IT platforms, we have Kunal Kaul, the Managing Director for Enterprise Sales for the India and SAARC markets at Cisco, joining us. Kunal is a Cisco veteran with nearly 15 years in the company, and he has advised enterprises in key industry sectors like banking, retail, manufacturing, and public sector, and managed large transformational businesses in the ITES domain as a client leader. Kunal, I'm glad you were able to find time and join us here today. Thank you so much for plugging in.
Well, digital transformation was always a part of a CIO's agenda or a business transformation agenda for most large organizations that we were working with. But the pandemic has only accelerated the pace at which organizations are now looking at digital transformation. And the conversations that used to happen earlier were more around whether we should do this now or whether we should do this later, and whether the investments are justifiable from a ROI standpoint or not. After the pandemic, the only conversation that customers want to have is that how quickly can you get this done. So I think the mantra is that anything that can be done digitally must be done digitally, and that's how most large organizations that we are working with right now are looking at digital transformation, not only from the point of view of survival, but digital transformation is now a means of gaining competitive advantage and growing your business.
And along with the word digital transformation, the word cloud is so deeply integrated, right? And the cloud always existed, truth be said. But today, the same cloud is in the heart of nearly everything digital. And you at Cisco are looking at something that you term as the hybrid cloud journey for customers. I'm intrigued. What is this all about?
Well, look, what the pandemic has done is that it has created the emergence of a distributed environment. For most organizations, enterprises, the employees are going to be distributed. The customers that they work with are going to be distributed. Ecosystem partners are going to be distributed. So what that basically means is that the technology infrastructure, whether it is your applications or whether it is your underlying on-premise infrastructure, has to be thought of or has to be reimagined and re-engineered in a way in which it can support a distributed environment. And that is where cloud-first strategy or cloud-managed infrastructure becomes very, very critically important, because that becomes the essence of creating a distributed enterprise strategy. So I think that's what is at the heart of what hybrid IT means for most customers. And from a networking or from an infrastructure management perspective, the moment we start talking about managing infrastructure through the cloud, that is when this conversation becomes really transformational, and that's what a lot of our customers are now starting to talk to us about.
And enterprises have always sought to find better and efficient ways to manage the cloud, right? But from where we are today, Kunal, cloud management for IT infra has been greatly elevated in their need and in importance. How is Cisco thinking and innovating here?
Well, with Cisco Meraki, which is the largest cloud-managed, IT platform in the world right now, we are able to offer a platform to our customers which allows them to converge many different aspects of their infrastructure, whether it is their campus network, whether it is their wide area network, whether it is their IoT devices, whether it is their security setup, a whole bunch of infrastructure elements that exist in their environment. Meraki allows them to converge the management, orchestration, analytics that can be done on these different elements through a single pane of glass and delivered in a cloud native fashion. I think that is what is gaining acceptance with a lot of customers across the board, and it is allowing them to do things like zero touch provisioning, very fast day zero, day one, day two operations, faster time to market. So this is gaining, a lot of acceptance and a lot of prominence with our customers. If I can talk about examples from some specific industry sectors, I think we've seen very good adoption in retail, where retailers have started adopting cloud managed infrastructure. Whether it is from connecting stores on SD-WAN to intelligent wireless that is deployed on the retail store level itself, and they are trying to deploy some very, very innovative use cases. They are monitoring the demographics of the users in the store. They are monitoring various kinds of analytics data that is generated from the stores, and then using that for decisions that they're able to take. Similarly, we are seeing manufacturing and industrial sector customers, and they are at various stages of their Industry 4.0 journey, but they are starting to look at cloud managed IT with Meraki in a very big way. Use cases like asset tracking, use cases like employee safety, contact tracing, convergence of OT and IT systems in manufacturing, and being able to do that at a cloud management level. Ingesting data from IoT devices directly onto the cloud and then running analytics on top of that. These are becoming really, really important for the manufacturing sector. And lastly, IT services, ITES has always been a very, very big focus area for Cisco in India. And IT services has now started looking at cloud managed IT through Meraki in a much, much bigger way than they've ever done before, right? So they have high density campuses. They are creating open internet zones for employees who are working flexibly or for guest onboarding. They are looking at IoT devices like smart cameras, which have analytics features, which are running in their campuses. They're also doing some very, very innovative stuff like measuring air quality index, because they have high density campuses. So they are measuring humidity, they are measuring AQI, they are measuring various other inputs and parameters that can be captured by the IoT sensors, feeding that back to the Meraki cloud, and then running some analytics on top of it. So I think we are starting to see some very fascinating and very innovative use cases, which are becoming possible because of the fact that Meraki is now able to offer an option of infrastructure being managed natively from the cloud.
And this is fascinating, but there's one more thing, right? They say that anything and everything that is connected needs to be paramount, no really second thoughts out there. So how do you employ a cloud managed platform like the ones we've discussed right now to really strengthen the security perimeter?
Well, security is at the heart of everything that we do at Cisco. Our approach, our thought process, our philosophy towards security is that security has to be thought of right from the time you engineer a product or a platform, and it cannot be bolted on. That's how we approach security, across the different, architectural towers that we have, and it is no different from Meraki. We have something called Cisco Talos, which is the world's largest threat intelligence platform and the world's, one of the world's most credible threat intelligence platforms. That is, at the heart of the Meraki cloud. We have something called Cisco Snort, which is the engine that our intrusion prevention system uses for detecting and inspecting malicious traffic that is coming in or going out of an organization. That is also seamlessly embedded into the Meraki cloud. The Meraki cloud has got integrations with our other Cisco technology platforms, whether it is TrustSec and ICE for authentication, whether it is some of the other security platform. We have StealthWatch for network behavior anomaly detection. It is seamlessly integrated with the Meraki cloud. So security is taken very, very seriously. Meraki cloud is HIPAA compliant, it is PCI compliant, and now with the advent of distributed working and hybrid working, especially, SASE is becoming a very, very hot subject of discussion, which is nothing but the convergence of SD-WAN capabilities and cloud capabilities like firewall, DNS protection, VPN, and so on. And that is something that Meraki brings to the table in a very, very effective way for our customers, because with Meraki SD-WAN integrating seamlessly with our umbrella and secure internet gateway portfolio, we are able to provide the full functionality of SASE capabilities to our customers, which enables hybrid working, hybrid IT, and providing security for distributed users. So I think security is very important. and Meraki is really doing really innovative stuff as far as being at pace with the current security standards is concerned.
Kunal, I've just been thinking, as much as the cloud had always existed, right? We are at the beginning of what we can term as a hyper dependence on the cloud. So at this juncture, what would you advise CIOs to consider to ensure that their businesses and their enterprises are really ahead of the growing tech curve?
Well, the role of the CIO and the CIO org has become more impactful and more business relevant than it ever has been. The kind of work that CIOs are now doing for their respective businesses is much more transformative and business impacting than at least I have ever seen in my career. And most CIOs that I talk to, while every industry sector has got its own nuances and there are different priorities for different types of businesses, for B2C or B2B businesses, but there are certain themes which are common across all industry sectors. One theme is that building digital platforms to engage with your customers or engage with your employees or ecosystem partners digitally, and building digital platforms that allow you and enable you to do that is something that we are seeing across the board. Secondly, having a cloud strategy or a cloud first strategy for your applications or for your infrastructure is again a very common theme that we are seeing that cuts across most industry verticals that we talk to. Thirdly, I think there is a substantial amount of data that is either already in the system or is getting generated at an exponential pace. So having a strategy for data and having a strategy to leverage that data. And from our perspective, we generate a significant amount of machine data, which means that the opportunity to use that machine data to do AI and ML and be able to leverage analytics to the maximum possible extent to deliver those insights to our customers is becoming very important. So I think CIOs looking at a data strategy and looking at an AI ML strategy is also becoming very important for most CIOs. But in the end, I think when we talk about distributed IT, when we talk about cloud, when we talk about all the other associated areas, the outcomes that CIOs are looking for are probably a couple of things are cutting across all of these. Number one is you need to have agility as far as time to market is concerned, as far as ability to make changes in your environment is concerned. Those are the kind of things that are critically important for most CIOs, and cloud managed IT makes that a reality. And the other is simplicity, whether it is your operations, whether it is your architectural engineering and design, whether it is your applications, whether it is your infrastructure. Customers want simplicity in the way in which they run their operations, in the way in which they run their IT. And that is again something that a cloud delivered platform like Meraki makes it a reality. We did a survey with some of our customers, and more than 50% of the customers said that with Meraki they were able to reduce their IT operations time by 75%. Now that is a staggering statistic, because that is what a cloud management platform like Meraki does. It takes your operational headache away, because a lot of complexities that you face in an on-prem operating environment are taken away when you do that on the cloud. So I think that's what we are hearing, and that's what we are seeing most of our CIOs do, and we are trying to talk to them very closely to make sure that we can be a part of their transformation strategy and help them achieve their outcomes.
Lovely. Thank you so much on those insights, Kunal. It's really been fascinating speaking to you over the last few minutes to understand how you are viewing the transformation, really what Cisco is doing to be able to help enterprises across the world to be able to accelerate their transformation in their digital transformation, how Meraki is simplifying the hybrid cloud environment that we are now living in, and really your insights for what the CIOs need to be considering and the tools that they should be adopting to ensure that they are keeping their enterprises at the very cutting edge of technology. Kunal, it's been a delight to have you join us here today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashwin. Really enjoyed this conversation.